Using the Texas Eden Disaster Resources Database. The database contains resources that are currently located on texashelp.tamu.edu. You can easily find these resources on texashelp.tamu.edu by going to the Disaster Information tab and then searching or clicking into one of these sections. All of the resources that are listed underneath these sections have now been entered into the new Texas Eden database. So for example, underneath each one of these sections, these PDF fact sheets have been entered into the database. The new database makes it easier to see what is available on Texas Eden. So the new database is located at texaseden.org/disaster-resources. By entering in this address, you'll get to the home page of the Disaster Resources database, where you can start to browse. You can browse the resources in the database by category, by the type of resource. You can view all the resources in the database. You can view the most popular resources, and then you can view resources submitted by the AgriLife Extension IRT teams. The first one we're going to go over is by category. This is the one that most people will use, and you can see that we have the main 4 categories for all of the resources in the database listed here. And if you click on any of these links, these linked category titles, it will automatically search the database for you for all of the resources. For example, disaster recovery information. Be shown after you click that link. But you notice, since these are 4 very broad categories, it will return many results. And you can get through the paged results by clicking on the page numbers below. To get back to the home page, you can click the home link here or the home tab, and that will get you back to the browsing menu. So let's take a closer look at what's inside each of these 4 main categories. And you can open and close to see the subcategories underneath these 4 main categories by clicking the plus or minus icon. You can expand these subcategories even further by clicking the plus or minus icon. So for example, all of these subcategories are underneath 4 people, and they're also underneath disaster recovery information. So if we click this link, families and individuals, we're seeing all of the resources that are in the database that are related to families and individuals, but are also related for people and also related to disaster recovery information. So the further you click into that category hierarchy, the less number of results that will be returned, and hopefully this will help you narrow down your search. And if you want to see the actual database entry for that resource, you click on its title. 2 gray boxes will open up, one that shows the source and then the link to the actual resource. There will be a link to the Spanish resource if available, but then you can also see the categories to which this resource is assigned. And then if there are any other keywords, like what type of resource it is, that will also be shown on each individual database entry. So for example, if we click the keyword fact sheet, all of the resources that have been assigned this keyword will be shown in the results. We've tried to make this as easy as possible to browse by clicking versus having to search, because this way you know what you're going to get. So for another example, we'll look at the resources by the type of disaster, and underneath this main category we can expand it even further into naturally occurring and man-made, and then we can expand it even further into disasters that are intentional and man-made, such as cyber terrorism. So when we click on the sub-category cyber terrorism, we only get 5 results, and clicking on one of the disaster resource links opens up that resource in a new window. The resources that can be opened can be a website as well as a PDF fact sheet and other types. Finally, you're able to look at the entire hierarchy here by clicking these links, expand all, and this will show you the entire outline or hierarchy of the categories. This might be the best way to start until you get familiar with how the categories work on this website. Clicking on any of these links will show you the database entries that are related to those categories. You can collapse and expand this hierarchy by clicking these links. And once again, you can just expand or collapse just one of these by clicking on the plus or minus icons. And then you can also work your way back up the hierarchy by clicking on the breadcrumbs at the top. But you notice as you get higher and higher up towards the more broad categories, more and more search results are returned until you get to the point where you view all the resources. The next tab we're going to look at is to browse the disaster resources by the type of resource. So here are the different types of resources that we have inside of the database. The one with the most is the fact sheets, but there's also PowerPoint presentations, media release. If we click on PowerPoint presentations, here are all of the results of the resources that are PowerPoint presentations that have been entered into the database. Next is the View All tab. If you click this link, you will see all of the resources that are in the database. At this moment, when this video is recorded, there's about 540 resources, so there's a whole lot of resources to go through, 55 pages. But if you want to browse through everything, you can. Next is the most popular resources. Now this is not as accurate today as I'm recording this video, but over time this section will show the most popular resources that have been accessed on this website in the last 30 days. So during the different types of seasons when these different disasters happen, you'll be able to see the most popular resources, like during hurricane season or during flu season. They'll be at the top there. And finally, there's the IRT teams browse. And this is mainly for AgriLife Extension employees, but you can click on one of these links to see the resources that have been submitted by one of the IRT teams. So if we click on the keyword drought, or the team name drought, you'll see all of the results for the resources that have been submitted to us by the IRT drought team. Some of the resources on the Eden database are protected, which means that you need a password to view this resource. And you can tell which ones these are because in the title there's the word protected, and also there's the description about you needing a password to access this resource. If you're an AgriLife Extension employee, you can contact us for this password, or you can access it through the Texas Eden employee site. There will be a page on that site about this new database, and the password to access these resources will be provided. So you enter in the password for this resource and click Submit. And once you do that, the system should remember your password. So any other protected resources that you get to, you shouldn't have to enter in your password. Finally, you can use the search function for this website, but most people would probably use the browse. The search is not quite as accurate, but it does search through the titles and categories. The best way to search is to enter in the smallest amount of keywords as possible, such as drought. This still returns quite a number of results, so you might want to narrow it down just a little bit more. But we can also try something like animals. And then also, here's one for ranch. Now once you do a search such as for ranch, you can click on one of these results and see the database entry, and then once you get to that one, and if it's something that you like, look at the categories that are also assigned to this resource. And if it's something else that is related to what you're looking for, click on one of these category titles to view other resources that have been assigned to this category. And that'll help you browse. The remaining tabs on the website are the About tab and the Contact tab. Underneath the About tab, we give a little bit more information about this database, but also about the Texas Extension Disaster Education Network. You can get to the official website for Texas Eden by clicking on that link, by clicking on the logo, or by clicking on this link in the far upper right-hand corner. And this will get you to the main Eden website. There's also more information about Texas AgriLife Extension Service. You can contact us by emailing. For general inquiries, email texashelp@tamu.edu. You can email for technical difficulties, and you can also email if you have specific questions in one of these topic areas. You can look up this person's contact information by going to that link.